before the worst betrayal of her life, Sarah's dog refused to be in the same room as her best friend. Every time this person walked through the door, someone Sarah had known for 7 years, her dog would leave. Not growl. Not bark. Just quietly get up and go to another room. She thought it was weird. She brushed it off. She wishes she hadn't. Here's what science has since confirmed. That dog wasn't being antisocial. That dog was reading something invisible, something encoded in scent, posture, microexpression, and neurochemistry that Sarah's human senses simply couldn't access. Your dog is doing this right now for you. And by the time this video is over, you will never look at your dog the same way again. Welcome to Barklun, the channel that goes deeper into the science of dogs than anywhere else on the internet. I'm going to walk you through 8 documented, peer-reviewed abilities that your dog possesses that most people never find out about. Not folklore. Not cute pet stories. Hard science, from institutions like the University of California, Harvard, and the Yavuz Lorand University in Budapest. Some of what you're about to hear will amaze you. Some of it will unsettle you. And at least one of these, I promise, is going to make you think about a specific person in your life. Let's start at number 8 and work our way to the one that changes everything. Forget everything you think you know about dogs and food. Because a study published in the journal Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews revealed something that completely rewrote what we thought dogs were capable of. It started with a simple social experiment, but what it uncovered was anything but simple. Here's the setup. A dog owner was struggling to open a sealed container. 2 actors were positioned nearby. In the first scenario, one actor stepped in and helped the owner open it. Helpful. Fine. Easy. In the second scenario, the actor just stood there. Passive. Uninvolved. Didn't help, didn't hurt. In the third, the actor looked directly at the struggling owner and turned away. A deliberate refusal to help. The dogs watched every second of this play out. Then, and here's where it gets extraordinary, each actor offered the dog a treat. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. These dogs had no prior relationship with these actors. The actors had never done anything directly to the dog. No hitting, no yelling, no threat of any kind. They were strangers. And yet, the dogs almost always accepted food from the helpful person. Most accepted it from the passive bystander. But when the actor who had refused to help extended a hand toward them, the dogs turned away. They wanted nothing to do with that person. What does that mean? It means your dog is not just paying attention to how people treat them. They are watching how people treat you, and they are forming moral judgments based on what they see. Your dog has been quietly evaluating every person in your life this entire time. The question is, have you been listening? This one keeps me up at night. A research team in Japan ran an experiment to answer a question that sounds almost philosophical. Can dogs detect deliberate dishonesty? Not aggression. Not cruelty. The specific act of deception. Here's how they tested it. 2 containers were placed in front of a dog. One had food. One was empty. A person pointed to the one with food. The dog went, found the treat, came back happy. Straightforward. Then, the same person pointed to the empty container. The dog went over. Found nothing. Came back confused. Now, any reasonable being would assume that third pointing gesture means something. And on the third round, the pointer directed the dog toward the container that actually had food. The logical move, follow the finger, get the food. That's not what happened. The majority of dogs simply did not follow the gesture. They disregarded the instruction entirely. In one single act of deception, that person had lost the dog's trust. Not temporarily. That person's credibility, in the dog's internal record, was gone. One betrayal. That's all it took. Think about what that says about your dog's memory. Think about what that says about your dog's social intelligence. They are not naive. They are not blindly loyal. They are tracking your honesty, the honesty of everyone around them, and they are keeping score. And that score, it follows a person every single time they walk through your door. I want you to stop for just a moment. Think about the smell of someone you deeply loved, a grandparent, someone you lost, and how the faintest trace of their scent can hit you without warning and bring everything back. The safety, the warmth, the feeling of being completely known. That is what happens in your dog's brain when they smell you after you've been away. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be between 10,000 and 100,000 times more sensitive than a human's. But the raw power isn't even the remarkable part. What's remarkable is what dogs do with what they smell. Research has shown that when a dog picks up the scent of someone they love, someone who has given them safety and joy, the reward centers of their brain activate. Fully. Intensely. And here's the detail that stays with you. Studies suggest the longer you've been absent, the stronger that neurological response becomes when you return. Your dog isn't just excited to see you. They are experiencing a flood of emotional memory triggered by a single breath of your scent. Every walk you ever took together. Every night they slept at the foot of your bed. Every time you came home and they ran to the door. All of it, compressed into one moment of recognition. And what about when someone never comes back? Dogs don't simply move on. The absence of a familiar scent registers as a real, measurable loss. Dogs grieve. And they grieve through smell, waiting for a scent that doesn't come. So the next time your dog buries their nose into you when you get home, understand what is actually happening. That is not a greeting. That is a full emotional reunion. And you are the whole world to them. We're about to shift from the emotional to the genuinely unsettling. Because ability number 5 involves something your dog has been doing to every person you've ever introduced them to, including you. For decades, the scientific community debated whether animals could truly interpret human emotional expressions, or whether they were just reacting to sound and movement. Then a research team in Austria ran an experiment that closed the debate permanently, at least when it comes to dogs. They used a touchscreen. Dogs were shown photographs of human faces, cropped to remove all other context. Just the top half of the face. Or just the bottom half. Happy expressions and angry expressions. Some dogs were trained to press their nose to happy faces for a reward. Others, to angry faces. Then the researchers introduced new faces. Faces the dogs had never seen before. Could the dogs correctly identify the expression? Yes. Consistently. Across the board. They weren't matching templates. They had developed a genuine conceptual understanding of human emotional expression. But there's a detail from this study that changes everything. Before any training, before the dogs understood the rules of the game or what they were being rewarded for, they already showed a natural, instinctive reluctance to press their nose against an angry human face. No one taught them that. No one had to. That response came from something much older, thousands of years of shared evolution between dogs and humans, during which dogs learned the emotional language of our faces the same way a child learns the emotional language of their parents. Your dog has been studying your face their entire life. Every micro-expression. Every shift. Every time you tried to hide what you were feeling. They noticed. They cataloged it. They understand it. Here is the most important thing to understand about your dog's nose. It doesn't just detect odors. It detects truth. You could be perfectly composed, smiling, shaking someone's hand, saying all the right things, and your dog would still know if something was wrong, because your body is broadcasting a chemical signal that you cannot control, and your dog is receiving it in real time. When you feel threatened, uneasy, or afraid, even when you're actively suppressing it, your body responds. Stress hormones shift. Adrenaline releases. Your perspiration changes composition at a molecular level. To every human in the room, undetectable. To your dog, it has a distinct and specific odor. And they are reading it. Here are the numbers. A dog's nose contains up to 300 million olfactory receptors. Humans have around 6 million. The region of the dog's brain dedicated to processing smell is proportionally 40 times larger than the equivalent region in ours. This is not a slightly better version of what we do. This is an entirely different sensory experience of the world. Research has shown that dogs can detect shifts in human neurochemistry through changes in the pheromones a person emits, meaning your dog may recognize that something is wrong before you have consciously processed the feeling yourself. There are documented cases of dogs becoming visibly agitated toward individuals shortly before those individuals acted violently, as though the dog had read the emotional pressure building inside a person before it broke the surface. And it works in the other direction just as powerfully. A study involving nearly 700 people found a clear statistical link between emotional state and likelihood of being bitten by a dog. People who approached dogs with calm, confident energy were bitten far less frequently than those who were anxious, tense, or afraid. The dogs weren't reacting to behavior. They were reacting to chemistry. So when your dog growls at someone your gut already flagged as off, consider this: you and your dog may be picking up on exactly the same signal. Your dog just has a better instrument to receive it. What I'm about to tell you is not metaphor. It is not anecdote. It is published, peer-reviewed, clinical science. Dogs can smell cancer. A research team at the University of California, Davis trained dogs to distinguish between tissue samples from cancer patients and samples from healthy individuals. Their accuracy wasn't just good, it was stunning. Malignant cells produce volatile organic compounds that differ chemically from healthy tissue. Differences so subtle that conventional medical instruments at the time could not detect them. The dogs could. In the United Kingdom, an organization called Medical Detection Dogs has spent years training dogs to identify the odor signatures of multiple cancers: prostate, breast, colorectal, lung, using breath, urine, and biological tissue samples. The implications are not theoretical. Non-invasive cancer screening, available anywhere, at a fraction of the cost of traditional diagnostics. But it doesn't stop at cancer. People living with type 1 diabetes face a silent, dangerous enemy. Blood glucose crashes with almost no warning. When glucose drops to dangerous levels, the body releases specific chemical byproducts measurable in breath and on the skin. An organization called Dogs for Diabetics trains dogs to alert their owners the moment those compounds appear, giving the person time to act before a crisis unfolds. Dogs have also demonstrated the ability to predict epileptic seizures before they happen, alert migraine sufferers to an incoming episode, and in controlled clinical trials, successfully detect malaria and early-stage Parkinson's disease through scent alone. Let that settle for a moment. Your dog's nose may be more diagnostically capable than technology that costs millions of dollars. And if you have a dog, that nose is on your side. You've seen it happen. Maybe in a park or on a walk. Two dogs approaching each other from a distance. One is loose, shoulders relaxed, tail sweeping wide. The other is stiff. Weight forward. Eyes locked and unblinking. You might be standing there trying to figure out if it's safe to let them meet. Your dog has already made that assessment. Animal behaviorists have documented for decades that dogs operate within an ancient, precise vocabulary of physical signals. A tail held high and rigid communicates something completely different from a tail held low and fast-wagging. A dog that freezes mid-step is sending a warning. A dog that shakes its entire body after a tense interaction is releasing the built-up stress of that moment. These signals are involuntary. They are processed at speeds conscious thought cannot match. And dogs apply that same analytical lens to humans. If someone walks into your home with tight shoulders, a clipped stride, and eyes that don't quite land on yours, your dog has already cataloged all of it. If someone's words say, "I'm a friend," but their body says something different, your dog is listening to the body. A 2016 study published in Animal Cognition found that dogs can integrate information from multiple sensory channels simultaneously, combining sound, sight, and scent into a unified, real-time assessment of a person's emotional state and intent. This is why dogs trained in law enforcement and personal protection are so effective. It is not aggression. It is an almost superhuman capacity for reading the behavioral signals that people leak unconsciously in every moment of every interaction. Your dog is doing this for you. Every person who crosses your threshold is being evaluated, and the results of that evaluation are stored, updated, and retrieved every single time that person comes back. Everything we've covered, the lie detection, the scent memory, the facial expression reading, the chemical sensing, the cancer detection, all of it flows from one fundamental truth. Dogs have not simply learned to live alongside human beings. They have co-evolved with us. For somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years, depending on which archaeological evidence you follow, dogs and humans have been shaping each other. And in that time, natural selection did something extraordinary. It kept rewarding the dogs who were best at reading us. The dogs who understood human emotion got more food, more shelter, more safety. They were allowed closer to the fire. Their genes carried forward. Generation after generation after generation, for tens of thousands of years, until what emerged was not an animal that has been trained to respond to humans, but an animal that is genetically wired to understand us. A landmark study from the Yavuz Lorand University in Budapest found that dogs follow human social cues, eye contact, pointing gestures, emotional expression, more intuitively than chimpanzees do. Our closest genetic relatives, dogs, an entirely different species, read us better. More recent neuroimaging research has confirmed that the regions of the dog brain that respond to the emotional content of a human voice are the same regions that process emotion in the human brain. When you speak to your dog in a warm, loving tone, they are not just hearing the sound. They are processing the feeling behind it and responding in kind. This is not a one-way relationship. Dogs don't just absorb emotional energy, they mirror it. They respond to it. And in many cases, they actively try to regulate it. If you are anxious, a well-bonded dog will press their body against you. Physical contact, a deliberate act of emotional stabilization. If you are sad, many dogs will seek your face. Making eye contact. Waiting. These are not random behaviors. These are intentional acts of emotional communication from an animal that has spent thousands of years learning the language of human feeling. So the next time your dog stops, locks onto a stranger across the room, and you feel that low rumble in their chest before you even register why, ask yourself, what do they know that you don't? Because based on everything science has shown us, the answer may be quite a lot. If this video changed how you see your dog, subscribe to K9 Mind right now. Every week we go deep into the science, the behavior, and the extraordinary emotional intelligence of dogs, and there is so much more to cover. Share this with someone who has a dog. They need to know this. And leave a comment below. Tell me about a time your dog knew something about a person before you did. Because I guarantee you have a story. And I genuinely want to hear it.